tried so hard, my dear, to show you're my every dream. Yet you're afraid each thing I do, just some evil scheme. A memory from your lonesome past keeps us so far apart. Why can't I free your doubtful mind and melt your cold, cold heart? All right, hello everybody. This is going to be your Cold, Cold Heart by Hank Williams Sr. I did like a previous video on this that kind of shows the whole thing, so I'm just going to kind of do it in little bits and pieces here for today's lesson. The simple way to play this, if you're just kind of a beginner, is you can just kind of strum. You know, we're in the key of D. You've got a D, an A, and we got a G. Okay, so it's just 3 chords. And I'll put some chord charts up here if you're an absolute beginner. If you are, please go back to some of my earlier lessons. That would probably help you. And the strumming is just a real simple. And again, if you're a beginner, you just kind of want to just strum. Okay, so I'll take you through the first. Actually, all the verses are the same, so I'll just do a simple version here for you. Tried so hard, my dear, to show you're my every dream. Yet you're afraid each thing I do, just some evil scheme. A memory of your lonesome past keeps us. Oh, we got a D7. Forgot about that. So far apart. Why can't I free your doubtful mind and melt your cold, cold heart? Okay, so that's like the easy version of it. Okay, a couple little tidbits here. Again, especially if you're a beginner, I'll try to put some time markers on this. Hopefully, if I'm successful at that, you'll see it. You'll see it on there. So if you're more advanced, you can kind of skip ahead, because I'm going to break down all the lead parts and stuff at the end of the video. But for you beginners out there, when you go from the D, you're my everything. Notice you can connect these 2 notes here. Not an easy way to connect that the D7 to the G. Okay. Normally, if you're just on a D to the G, you can just leave that 3rd finger there. Okay. But this isn't going to work. We're going to do that D there. Okay. So I'll show you some of those little walk-ups and whatnot that I was doing too. Okay, so that's kind of the easiest way to do it. So now this would probably be the best way to pick it if you could. When it goes to A, the thing that I like to do is I like to walk up to the 3rd on this A. And I'm just walking back into the D. That's what the bass player would probably be doing, but it's always good to if you take that your 3rd finger off, that gives you a nice D9 sound. So I kind of do that so I can walk into that G. Now your 1st finger, you can walk back down to that A, you know, so you have that take it from that D. that could be so you're if you kind of think of it this way, you know, you're on this G, you could pull some notes out of the pentatonic scale there. Then you're right. You're on that B note from the G to the third of G. Okay, so let me kind of go through that whole thing for you. Okay, so that you know, there's nothing wrong with that. You kind of go, you could play it that way, and again, if you're a little bit more advanced, the way I kind of look at this too is, you know, this is your D. So you have your D major scale here, or D major pentatonic. Okay, so that kind of comes in handy. Oh, and also that little, and I want to show you the stuff that I did on the intro after I get through the chords. So that's pretty much it, actually, on the chords. When you go to the A, you know, if you could think of this is your A major pentatonic right here. Okay, so that's all, you know, what I was doing when I did this little walking up to the third of the A. Another cool thing. Another chord I like to do is so instead of this D7 like this, if you take and put the, you know, this F sharp right here, if you put it down here, now you can get this really nice ninth chord. Okay, and so that's pretty much all I have on the verses. The verses just do the same thing each time, which makes it easy. So let me start off now. Then I'll show you the little lead parts that are in this thing. The intro, and I'll go into just a teensy bit of theory on this. The intro was starting. So remember, you're in the key of D. So if you were to play just the intro, Okay, so it's going into that A. So if you think of your A chord up here, here's D. This is your root note. Here's A up here. So we're just grabbing, these two notes. This ends up being like a ninth. If you're thinking of this as an A, that's the seventh right there, and this would be like a ninth. Okay. That's what happens like in a lot of these old country tunes. They'll go down two steps like that. It ends up making like a ninth kind of a chord thing. But okay, so again, we're still thinking A. Here's okay, now we're thinking of an A chord here. Walking down again, and again here's these. Okay, then I'm showing it to you this way because if you think of it this way, it's a lot easier to remember instead of just picking out random notes. Okay, so here's an A chord. So I'm just grabbing those two notes, and where this is coming from, you think of a D chord. It's just these little third things or sixths. So that's just kind of the top part of this. Okay, so let me do that whole thing for you. If you think of it that way, that'll keep you straight, though, help you remember it. And then I play a little D, like a D6 here on the tail end. It sounds kind of like the steel guitar thing. You could also look at it as if it's just like a D minor, or a B minor, I'm sorry. Just these top notes of a B minor. But we're putting that D on there. That just gives you that nice D6 sound. Okay. So then the lead that I did, and again, you might have to go back and watch the other video that I did on playing it, but the lead, okay, so so you're thinking of a D chord there. Okay, so again, there's those two notes. So we're just kind of harmonizing a major scale in a way. Okay, so again, we're right here on a D chord. And then it goes to the A. So now we're thinking an A major pentatonic. Okay, so now, this part here, you're still on A, so you're thinking of an A chord up here. So we just have these two notes of the A. See that? So it just follows all these little chord shapes. Let me just take it from the beginning. Okay, so and again, you know, you can just kind of look at the notes that I'm playing if you like, but like I said, again, I would rather have you kind of see the little chord shapes, because this ends up being a lot of fun that way. Okay, so when it goes, you know, when we're on the second half of that little lead part, we're thinking of a D shape right here. Okay, we're thinking of this D here. This is when it goes to the A. Okay, we're still on A, so we're thinking up here. Just these two notes out of this A chord, you can see them right there. Now we're back to the D. And then so again, now we're on D, we're thinking of this. I like to go, this is when it goes to the G. Then I like to do like a little G6 kind of thing here. Okay, so hopefully you'll be able to follow along with that. I'll do the whole thing all the way through. You know, that's just kind of one of those things you'll have to just look, you have to think of like what chord you're on and see these little shapes within the chord. Okay, that's kind of how I do it. And it's really great, you know, even if you're kind of a beginner, it's really super good if you get used to doing it that way, so you can kind of see the little chord tones around your little triads in the chords. Okay, so I'll go through that whole thing if I can. Melt your cold heart. Well, let me do that slower though. Okay, so that's all that's going on the lead, and then really good stuff to know. Okay, so just kind of take that apart, look at the chord shapes, and then if you watch the other video that I did some part where I was kind of vamping on some of the during the fiddle part on that video, the previous video. I want to show you some of the chords that I like to do. This comes from my Johnny Smith series that I do, where I'm showing you the 6 chords and their inversions and all that. So again, if you think you're on D, I'm playing like a D6 up here. Okay, so we're kind of getting to the advanced part of this lesson, but I like to do stuff like on some of these songs. It's fun to just, and this is you can just kind of do this if you want to. This is, like I said, during the fiddle part. Sometimes I'll go like this. Then we're going to go to that A7. The other way you can do it is if you do this 6th chord here. Okay. Again, if this is like totally new to you, go back and look at my Johnny Smith advanced lessons if you're kind of at that point. Look under the 6 chords and their inversions, but this is really fun to play. So this just goes to the D6. This gives you like a E flat diminished, and now we're on an A7th. I'm playing an A7th here. You know, it's the 5 is normally a 7th, even though we're doing an A major. So then I'll go to this A. Now to do the A7th, these I haven't actually done the 7th inversions video yet, so this one I'll just kind of. There's your A7th. I'll zoom in on this so you can see these shapes. Okay, this is the inversion with the 3rd and the bass, and then we'll go up here. This is the 5th. This is kind of like if you know like a C7th chord down here. We're up here. This is A. This is an A7. We're just simply putting the 5th and the root here. So we end up with this. Then we have. And then you go to an A9th, and then back to the D. Okay, so that's what I did on those chords there. I think on the video I was just kind of vamping on this D6. Like I said, you can do this other part if you want to. You can feel that diminished in there if you want to. So then what I did on that, ended up doing a 13th on the end of that. Okay, let me see if I can take you through that whole section. This again, this is like where the fiddle's playing. And, you know, and you could do this if you're playing with another, you know, a friend or someone. You know, would give the other guitar player something to do in the background. I always like doing stuff like this. Now, again, don't get frustrated with this if you're kind of beginner. This is kind of, you know, I'm even struggling with these chords because I don't play them like every day. But whenever I get an opportunity, I always try to throw these in there because they sound so cool. Okay, so this is just, that's just an A13, and then I'm just hitting this. Okay, and then that's pretty much all that I'm doing on that. I hope that's not totally confusing. Like I said, go back to some of the Johnny Smith videos that I have. on the sixth chords. The only thing that I really haven't done a video on are these the seventh inversions, which that's coming up. Oops. But that's going to be coming up here pretty soon. Okay, and this A-ninth is cool too. This is kind of you can kind of look at it like this. Okay, if you take your rooted on the A, you've got your root here. Here's your seventh. Okay, this is the ninth down here. Okay. Okay, so that makes an A-ninth. But the easiest way to do this is if you just play it like that. You just have to remember that your root is there. I use this a lot because you can kind of get this. And then I always like to raise this note here. That ends up being like that's the fifth. Yeah, so it's just raising the 5. So I end up with this. Okay, so I'm going from here's your D to a D ninth, and then to G6, then A, and again you can alternate, then the A13, back to the D. Back into the song, and then of course the tag on the end is just like the intro. It just repeats. And I think I did this one. And you could do this little 6 add 9 up here. You could even do like the full version of it. So you have, I always just kind of do just this little smaller version of it. But this sounds cool. Good way to end it. All right. There you go, folks. That's Cold, Cold Heart. And I sure hope that wasn't too confusing there in the middle. I just kind of put this together after doing that video. I think, like I said, if you're kind of a newbie, stay kind of at the beginning of the video. If you're reaching the intermediate stages, then this would be good for you to delve into. But it kind of takes a while to get those little inversions under your fingers. But please refer to my Johnny Smith videos. Those things are really come in handy. Some great stuff, and I will be having the inversions on the 7th chords coming up pretty soon. So, anyways, folks, I really appreciate you watching, and would love it if you would subscribe. I'd love to have you, as part of this musical journey that I'm on. And please hit the like button and all that good stuff. Okay, so anyways, thank you so very much, and we will see you next time around. Bye-bye.